Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something that's changing everything about how we work. I mean, fundamentally reshaping our jobs, how companies run. We're talking about the digital workplace market. Yeah, we've been digging into this report, the digital workplace market, a global growth forecast, and honestly, some of the findings are just wow. So our plan today is to pull out the really key stuff from the report, help you get your head around the, frankly, astonishing scale of this shift and, figure out what it all might mean for you.
Okay, let's jump right in with a global view because the numbers are pretty eye-popping. Get this. The report says the global market was already worth around $26 billion back in 2021, but here's the kicker. It's forecast to more than double, hitting nearly $60 billion by 2025.
60 billion.
And it
right?
doesn't stop there. Looking up to 2033, we're talking like over $296 billion.
It's just incredible growth.
Right. That works out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of over 22% every single year. You know, what's really fascinating here isn't just the sheer size, but the incredible speed, how fast this market is expanding. It's not just slow steps. It feels like a massive re-architecting of how businesses work globally.
Re-architecting, I like that.
Yeah, and such high, consistent growth, it signals this is fundamental. It's deep in the economic landscape now. It suggests businesses everywhere see the digital workplace as, well, essential, not just some IT add-on anymore.
That's a really strong point. So if it's this global re-architecture,
Yeah.
where's it happening fastest? Or, are there regional differences? Let's maybe unpack this region by region. Starting with North America, they seem to be leading the way, right?
They definitely are.
Okay, so North America. The market there was about $10 billion in 2021. It's projected to soar past $107 billion by 2033. That's still maintaining a really strong growth rate, nearly 22% annually.
Still very high, yeah.
And within that, no surprise, the U.S. is the giant, making up most of that. But Canada's growing significantly too set to hit over $12 billion. And Mexico, looking at over $8 billion by 2033.
Right. North America's lead, it really shows how mature economies are doubling down on digital transformation. But what's interesting, even though they started early, that consistently high growth tells you there's still loads of potential. It's like a constant cycle, isn't it? Innovation keeps driving more adoption. It's not a one-and-done thing.
Absolutely. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe, also a huge player in this. Their market started around $5.6 billion back in 21, expected to hit over $60 billion by 2033. And the growth rate, almost identical to North America, nearly 22% CAGR.
Remarkable consistency.
Yeah. And you see big contributions from the UK, Germany, France. Germany alone is projected to top $13 billion. Plus, Italy, Spain, Sweden, all showing really substantial growth, too.
It is quite remarkable seeing that kind of consistent growth across such, well, diverse European economies. It suggests everyone's recognizing the benefits, maybe even the necessity of going digital in the workplace. Doesn't seem to matter much what the local business culture or regulations are. It's universal.
It really speaks to that efficiency and collaboration drive, doesn't it?
Ex-
Okay, now this is where it gets, I think, really interesting. Asia-Pacific APAC.
Yeah,
This region actually shows the highest growth trajectory.
the fastest, yeah.
Started just over $6.5 billion in 2021. Expected to hit a massive $81.5 billion by 2033. And that comes with the top regional TEGR over 23%.
Wow.
Within APAC, China's huge, projected over $25 billion. Japan, also significant growth, over $13 billion.
Yeah.
But listen to this. India, its expansion is just incredible. From less than $1 billion in 2021
Right.
to over $10 billion by 2033. And its CEGR is the highest in the region, nearly 25%.
25%.
Yeah. And then you've also got South Korea, Singapore, Southeast Asia, generally all growing fast.
That does raise a really interesting question, doesn't it, about how quickly digital adoption is accelerating in places like India. That super high CAGR, it suggests a kind of leapfrogging effect, maybe?
Leapfrogging. How so?
Well, maybe some of these economies are skipping over older tech infrastructure. They don't have the legacy systems holding them back, so they can just jump straight to the latest digital workplace stuff, maybe even faster than some established markets.
That makes sense. Less baggage.
Exactly. It could really reshape where innovation happens globally, changes how we think about market maturity.
That's a fascinating angle. Okay, but it's not just the giants. What about, say, South America? They're also showing a growing digital scene.
Definitely emerging.
Yeah, their market's projected to grow from about $1.7 billion in 21 to nearly $20 billion by 2033. Still a strong CAGR, over 22%. Brazil's the leader there, looking at almost $8 billion. Argentina and Chile also growing well.
Solid growth across the board there, too.
And the Middle East also seeing a big digital push. Market starting just over $1 billion, forecast to go past $13 billion by 2033. You've got Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Turkey, all showing really impressive growth figures over the next decade or so. And finally, Africa, also showing real promise here. Starting around $1.2 billion back in 2021, expected to grow to over $14 billion by 2033. South Africa is a key part of that, projected to contribute over $6 billion.
So if you sort of connect all those regional dots,
Yeah.
it's just undeniable, isn't it? This isn't just one or two regions hotting up. It's not temporary. It's a really fundamental worldwide transformation. Those high growth rates, consistently across every single continent, it confirms the digital workplace is this universal force. It's reshaping how everyone works everywhere, regardless of location and economic stage. It's truly global.
Okay, so that's the what? Incredible scale, global scope. But let's connect it back. What does this actually mean for you listening right now? And maybe the bigger question is, what's actually driving all this? What's fueling this universal boom?
Well, the report actually sums up the why pretty neatly. It really boils down to three main drivers.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's just the relentless pace of, well, technological adoption. Think about cloud computing, all the collaboration tools, AI starting to automate things, specialized software. Businesses are pouring money into this stuff.
To stay competitive, get efficient. Makes sense.
Exactly. Second driver, the huge shift towards remote and hybrid work. I mean, the pandemic accelerated it massively, but now flexibility is just expected by so many people.
Unnegotiable, yeah.
Right. And that needs strong digital infrastructure to work, to keep teams connected, productive, wherever they are.
Okay. Tech adoption, remote work, and the third.
The third is the wider trend of enterprise digitization. This isn't just about, moving a couple of processes online. It's about rethinking the entire business, customer service, internal ops, supply chains, making it all digital first.
Just those three things working together.
Yeah, it's that powerful combination. Technology, new ways of working, and this whole business digital push. That's what's creating this, well, explosive and universal growth we're seeing.
Wow. Quite the deep dive into the forces literally changing our work lives. So the core takeaway seems pretty clear. The digital workplace market is booming, truly transforming things everywhere all at once. It's not just a passing trend. It's fundamental. It's how work gets done now.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Given how widespread and fast this all is, how might these trends actually reshape your own professional life? Think about, what skills suddenly become way more valuable, how important is just being digitally fluent, or even how does this change what we even mean by work or the office over the next, say, 10 years? Something to mull over. Okay. Let's explore this. Today, we're diving into the really dynamic world of the digital workplace market. Our sources show it's not just about getting new software. It's actually reshaping how organizations work globally, especially with this big shift we've all seen towards hybrid and remote work. So our mission really for this deep dive is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from our sources to help you understand how companies are actually navigating this pretty complex and, well, constantly evolving landscape.
Yeah, and what's really striking, I think, is that hybrid work.
Yeah.
It might have started out as, a necessity during the pandemic, but the sources are clear. Now it's the main strategic reason behind a lot of these digital workplace investments. Companies are really leaning on those big foundational platforms like Microsoft 365, Google Workspace. These aren't just tools anymore. They're basically critical ecosystems. They keep teams connected, collaborating, productive wherever they are, which is crucial for staying agile, right? And keeping the business running smoothly, even when unexpected things happen.
That's a great point. And our sources also seem to highlight that, okay, beyond the tech side of things, the human element is becoming really central. It's less about where you work and more about how people actually experience their work day to day, wouldn't you say? The research keeps pointing to this big push to improve the employee experience. We're talking seamless digital tools, things like unified messaging, video calls, automating workflows. Employers aren't just investing for productivity boosts. It's strategic now. It's about attracting and keeping the best people. It's become a vital part of HR strategy.
Indeed. And underpinning all of this is a huge move away from older legacy systems towards what they call cloud-native environments, basically building apps for the cloud to really get the most out of its flexibility and scale, not just, lifting and shifting old stuff. So as companies modernize, these digital workplace solutions give them centralized access, easier device management, and, importantly, scalability. What this means for you, really, is that this shift supports the whole company's digital transformation, makes things more secure, potentially more cost-effective, and definitely ready for remote work.
Okay, so those are some pretty powerful forces driving the market forward. But what about the hurdles? What do our sources say might be slowing things down, or maybe even making some companies pause and rethink? This is where it seems to get a bit tricky on the challenges side.
You're right, it does. A really common theme across the reports is that security and compliance are, well, they're growing worries. More remote work means, unfortunately, a bigger attack surface,
Hmm.
higher risk of data breaches, phishing, identity theft.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, trying to keep up with global rules like GDPR or UpCare adds a lot of complexity
Mm-hmm.
and cost, especially when you've got sensitive employee data or health records being accessed from all sorts of remote locations. You need really tight IT protocols.
And that complexity. It goes beyond just security, doesn't it? Our sources also talk quite a bit about the challenge of integration and change management.
Hmm.
Moving to these new platforms often means ripping out old software that's deeply embedded, retraining whole teams, dealing with, internal resistance sometimes.
Yeah.
If that's not managed well, sources say it can lead to delays, unexpected costs, and ultimately a lower return on the investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned ROI. That's another big constraint highlighted. There's sometimes uncertainty about how to actually measure the true return. Combine that with subscription costs that can really add up. Well, that can slow down adoption. Most of these platforms use per user or tiered pricing. So organizations have to do this careful balancing act,
Right.
get the features they need, but manage the long-term costs, especially if there's overlap with tools they already pay for. It's a different kind of buying decision.
Right. But despite those hurdles, the market is definitely buzzing with some exciting new trends. What's standing out to you from the sources?
Well, something really fascinating is the rise of AI-driven tools and virtual assistants. Our sources show they're doing more than just streamlining basic tasks, like scheduling or finding documents. They're actually helping to reduce the mental load, the cognitive load on users, freeing people up to focus on more complex, higher-value work. It's about optimizing productivity by removing friction.
Yeah, reducing friction, I like that. And building on that, we're also seeing a real push towards low-code and no-code integration.
Yeah.
This is basically opening up app development. It lets people who aren't coders automate tasks or build custom workflows themselves, which can really speed up digital transformation in different departments without creating huge backlogs for the IT team.
Exactly. And finally, there's this growing focus on digital well-being and work-life balance. You see modern platforms adding features like focus modes or ways to schedule quiet times, even giving insights into your activity patterns. The idea is to help people avoid burnout and manage screen time in this always-on world. It's almost like a digital off switch, something our sources suggest is really needed to keep employees healthy and engaged.
So to recap then, we've looked at the key drivers pushing this market, some pretty significant challenges, and these really interesting emerging trends shaping the digital workplace. It's clear this market is right at the intersection of innovation, how the workforce is changing, and keeping businesses resilient.
Right. And maybe a final thought for you to consider, connecting this to the bigger picture. Think about how this constant push for digital tools, for efficiency, combined now with this growing focus on well-being, how is that going to fundamentally reshape what work actually means for you personally in the coming years?